cash flow and dump it where? Right back in the HELOC. And everything is flowing in the HELOC, right? So your work is going where? HELOC. Your one-on-one blessings is going where? HELOC. Your kids' work? Some of you guys do that. Don't be lying. I know some of you guys use your kids' money and put it in your HELOC. I know you. I've done that too, so it's all good. All in the family. We're running that in there. Now, what we're doing is we're paying this down, right? So over the course of a year, do you think we could pay down $25,000 that we just added to the HELOC using the one-on-one system, being an outstanding student? Yes. So what that does now, it sets us up for next year, another $25,000, $30,000, right? Let's say it's $30K now, and we get another $200 to $300 in cash flow that goes where? And every asset that I put in my portfolio, I look as if it's somebody else, somebody that's working to bring money into my house. So it's like my kids or my spouse working, everything's flowing. And then we use the one-on-one system to pay this portion down. This HELOC is like what I call my acquisition arm. It allows me to do that, because think about trying to save up $25,000 to $30,000 in cash. It's hard. And then if you want to do bigger deals, you can go get more money by going back to the bank or go to another bank. We're not married to the bank, so we say, hey, my value went up and I'm paying this down. Can I go get another HELOC for a higher valuation? So what do we do with that? We create more what? Availability. You want to buy more, you create more availability. That's the secret. It's not the cash that you have in your savings or your checking, it's the availability that you have access to, okay? Now, third year, we do what? Another house, same thing, cash flow goes where? So we start to acquire these properties. Now, after 5 years, right? So you got 5 and 5, now you're cash flowing and you're good. So if you don't have a financial goal, that's where I want to start you at. Is a 5 and 5, or you're not there 5 and 10. Yes?
What do you do about the bank lending to the rest of the loan? Like, can I just, like after I finish closing on this, can I just go out and get another loan from the bank, or do I have to?
Yeah, I think you can get up to like, I think it's like 7 to 10 mortgages. Is it 10 now?
It's 10.
Is it 10? Okay, so he's a mortgage broker, and so you can get 10 under your name, right? Yeah.
But will that count as my DTI, or are they gonna say, well, that's income, not debt?
It's gonna count the DTI.
It's gonna count towards your DTI, but for most banks, they'll count about 70. What are you guys counting, George, on the rental income? Do you guys count that towards income for
Yeah,
the?
we'll count the rental.
What percentage of the rental income would you count?
We'll count all of it.
You count 100%?
Whatever is reported on the tax return.
Okay.
What we
Is
use
it
as
after
a
1
percentage.
year or immediately?
It can be immediately if you have a track record of having rental income. But if you're just doing your first one, you would have to just show like a lease and maybe 2 months payments over a 12-month history. And you can start using that income.
Very good. So the question is, how do we get around the banks with a DTI? Well, everything we do, investing, and I didn't talk about this, but I usually start with my 2 favorite words, cash flow. Is it 2 words or 1? Is it gooses or geese? Geeses? Okay, cash flow, my 2 favorite words, okay? Cash flow drives pretty much everything. In fact, I'm starting a podcast called Cash Flow. And the reason for the importance of cash flow is it helps you to qualify for a HELOC, right? One of the things they look at when the banks try to qualify HELOC for you is cash flow. When you're buying a property, you're looking at cash flow. So do whatever you got to do to get your cash flow up, which means work harder, get a promotion, or build your one-on-one business, or do both to increase the cash flow so you can start this, so you can build a track record like George says. You build a track record so banks give you more money so you can leverage and grow your wealth fast. This is the speed game. It's called, you heard Kevin talk about it yesterday, it's called velocity of money. It's all about speed, okay? Now, what can happen is a couple things. Once you get your 5 in 5 years or 5 and 10, then you use the one-on-one system to just pay it all down and live happily ever after. These properties are gonna rent anywhere from $1,200 to $1,500 a month. $1,150 to $1,250, and then it'll keep going. Usually about 3% a year is what they're calculating. And so, so now you have this, and you got 5 properties at, let's say, $1,500 a month after 5 years. What is that? That's $7,500. Not bad. Not bad, huh? And then you pay it down, and then you pay it all off, and then you cash flow minus the taxes, insurance, and property management fees. You're cash flowing pretty darn well. You probably replace your income after that. But then for some of you that want to do it bigger, what the plan is, and this is my son's plan that's on a mission in North Carolina. So we're doing that first deal with him in Indiana. When he comes home, we're going to sell it and split it into 2. I'm going to suggest to some of you, especially in markets like Arizona or here, or even in Vegas, the market conditions are probably going to change. It's not going to. There's going to be a dip. And so when that dip happens, what we want to possibly do is sell off the first house and do what we call a 1031. This is a magic tax term that Ernest can tell you about. 1031 exchange into a fourplex. You guys see that? That's a fourplex. We sell this off, so now it's probably 170, 150, 170,000, and we use that 170 down or 150 down as a down payment to acquire the bigger property. Now we got 4 doors that generate what? Cash flow, and we bring that back into a market like Utah when it drops, or Vegas, Arizona, Boise when it drops. It's hard to buy now, but it will drop. You gotta be ready so you can move assets around to get more cash flow. That makes sense? And then on your 7th year, you sell off house number 2 and use that as a DP for what? Another fourplex. Or you might be able to go 8plex, but it depends on how big, how much you make on that deal. But there's no taxes that's gonna occur on this transaction because you're doing a 1031 exchange. So you're using more of your funds to acquire a bigger piece of property to create more income, more cash flow. Let's say you like one of these properties, your Orlando property is doing well. Well, don't sell it, keep it. And how do you get the money out? HELOC or a cash out refi on a very low 30-year fixed rate mortgage. Pull out that money and use that money as a down payment and still have the asset and pull out the money. You see what I'm saying? So you might not necessarily even have to sell these guys. You can still keep it if they're doing good and have money to start to acquire. How did it all start? One house with $25,000 to $30,000 down payment. A lot of you in here have PLOCs that are $30,000. I got 2 personal lines of credit that I've never ever used. I just got it from the bank and they said they'll give it to me, and I just have it there. Just for stuff like this. Just hanging out, money waiting for me. It's called availability, so I can keep my cash working in my main HELOC. And you only need 1 HELOC to run this stuff. Make sense, guys? So, questions? Thank you. Any questions here? Amber?
I'm just wondering, tax, like, purposes when we're buying houses out of the state, like, does it make things a little more complicated tax-wise, or?
I'm sure it does. Kai, go ahead. That's why you have Ernest.
It can. A lot of times you need to check with those states, and obviously we can help you, but if you make a certain amount of income, there's a requirement to make income in order to file in that state. So once you have your income minus your business expenses, your rental expenses, minus your interest that you're paying as well, depreciation, a lot of times you won't have enough net income that qualifies you to file in that state. Some states require you no matter what, if you do an activity, file, but it's depending on the state.
Yeah, so the goal is to pay 0 taxes with real estate, and you can get there because of depreciation and other factors. And then like we just bought a property through our LLC that we had Wealth Academy set up for us. We have a local LLC here that is used for real estate acquisitions, and it's a Utah-based LLC instead of Hawaii, so we can avoid the higher state income tax there of 11% versus 5% here. Plus, real estate income is taxed differently. It's taxed as a passive income, so there's a lot more benefits. Okay, any other questions?
The down payment that you made, you said, like, wait the next year till it's paid off before you do your next one. Do you have to wait till it's paid off if you have the availability? Can you just make it?
No, you don't have to wait. You can be, I was telling Dane, like, Dane just got his second property and he's like cash flowing like several G's a month, like, it's like, I'm just not sure if I'm ready to do my next, I'm like, dude, do it. You got it cash flowing, you got it working. You don't have to do this. And typically what happens, and what I've seen, and this happened for me personally and others that I've seen, is once you get that first one, you get rid of most of your fear. Then the second one comes a little faster. Then it starts going boom, 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 boom. Ask Shan, ask others. I mean, even Megan, right? Megan was scared to do that first one, and then boom. After that first one, she went and got the second one, like right away. So how long did it take you to get your, so you had your house, paid it down, and you bought the first condo, or the rental, right? The townhouse.
And then, so what we did was we paid off our first property. We got a full HELOC off of that, and then we paid for our investment property in cash with the HELOC, and then we paid that down a year and a half to a year and 9 months later, and then we have now our third property with a mortgage on, so we're paying down the HELOC, and then also, so basically my properties are paying for my mortgage, and then we're just paying down the HELOC, and then eventually we're paid off the mortgage. But we have availability if we wanted to.
It just went so quick for her, like, all that was in a period of like a couple of years.
Yeah.
So it just happens. But the way that it happens, you gotta educate yourself, be smart, right? Be a very, very good student. Always learn and study. And then when it's time to take action, you gotta pull the trigger. I was like, oh, we have everything there, but we're too scared to pull the trigger. That's where you rely on your team here to help you overcome those fears. Right? Any questions? I went over a little bit, but again, folks, write this down: 5 and 5 or 5 and 10. If you're not a homeowner yet, your goal is to go from being a renter to buying your first house. Start small. Start small. My first place, we bought the place that we're renting. We're renting there since college, less than 1,000 square feet, and we added square footage. We took out the little balcony, and we added 80 square feet. We're doing it was tight quarters, less than 1,000 square feet, 7 people in the house. That's how we do it. You gotta grind. You gotta grind at the beginning, and then things start to happen. And you'll see tonight, we're not living in 1,000 square feet anymore. My golf room is bigger than that because we're grinding. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying I started from the bottom. We worked our butts off. We made ourselves very smart, and we took action. We capitalized on the opportunity. Now my job is to help you do what Earl and Rochelle, what Shan, what everyone else, what Megan's doing, so everyone can do that. If that's what you want to do. If you don't want to invest that, this is just great information. But if that's what you want to do, work hard, grind, be smart, stay focused, don't get distracted, and you got to stick with the right people that actually talk about buying real estate. Those conversations are fun. Big D, last question.
So like, do like the property managers, they cover all the, you don't have to even talk to the tenants, or how does that work as a whole?
Yeah, so we manage most of our own properties, and I would encourage you, if you're doing it locally, to try to manage it. You go for it, learn. But the out-of-state stuff, never talk to a manager. I mean, a tenant. Just collect the checks. Any problems, you call a property manager. And I would set thresholds with them, like anything over $100 that needs to be repaired, you need to call me first to approve the transaction. Anything under $100, just go ahead and do it and then bill me, and they'll take it out of the rent. But we try to make it as simple as possible, because all we're worried about is the cash flow. I'm not worried about how pretty the house is. I'm worried about how pretty that $1,200 looks coming into my HELOC. That's all I care about. Some of you get too emotional. Like we go on these trips and these tours, like, oh, this house is so nice. And we go to this house like, ugh, stinky. But which house is better? The stinky one. That's the one that makes money. And so again, it's about cash flow. Okay, guys. So if you guys qualify for the next trip, I do a very detailed one in Vegas. You guys can come to my real estate wealth building training I do in Vegas. I do a very thorough 3-4 hour wealth building thing. We can invite you there because I honestly, this is from the bottom of my heart, I really want all of you to be multi-millionaires. That's if I look back on my life, I say, wow, I was a small part of someone becoming a multi-millionaire in their life. That's gonna feel really good. Over and above the 1 million people that we help with one-on-one. So I wish that for you, and thank you for listening. I'll be here to answer